Hello my friends and welcome to this episode on Grainificent. In this episode, it's another episode of my little darkroom series. Today I will be showing you how to make contact prints that will work in any type of film you want. Of course, contact prints, you don't enlarge the film, so basically the size of the negative you have, that's the size of the photo you will have printed on paper. So be mindful of that. Why make contact prints? Well, if you want to have a preview of your entire roll of film on one piece of paper instead of scanning everything, if you want to keep it completely analog, manual, no computers involved, then what you could do is get a large piece of photo paper, align your film on it, and you have all the 36 shots on a piece of paper where you can then with the magnifying glass or loupe look what kind of shots you got. Or if you got large format film like we have here, 4x5, I don't have an enlarger for 4x5 format, but this size works perfectly well on this is paper 10.5 by 14.8 centimeters. That is, they don't say it in inches, but you could calculate it. It would be about 4x6, 4x7, something like that. So it is just a little larger than this 4x5 negative. So it goes perfectly well for contact printing if you want to have large format contact sheets printed quickly. So you could do this on the go, basically, if you have a nice dark spot, or just get some regular prints from your large negatives. Of course, if you have a 6x6 medium format camera, that will come out to approximately a Polaroid type print. So just black and white. Unless you have color, you could always print color. It will be some time before I get to color. But of course, you would need smaller paper, right? Then you could always cut the paper. So let's get into the video. So of course, we got our negative. We got our paper. What else will you need? Well, you will need a piece of glass. Of course, this is a piece of glass from a photo frame. It works. They sell, of course, special types of glass that have better quality to them. But if you're just making simple contact prints, any type of glass is good. You could also, of course, buy complete sets that have complete holders that you just lock in the film with the paper and everything. It's a professional holder for contact printing, but that's expensive stuff. If you don't have the expensive stuff but you still want to get into it, then any type of glass will work. It could be glass or plexi, anything that is transparent that will just weigh the film down flat against the paper. Of course, you need the paper. We are using the FomaSpeed N312. That's the matte finish, normal contrast. We will not be playing around with the contrast or anything, so let's get into how to make the contact print, how to see how much exposure you need. And of course, you don't need an enlarger for this. You could just use your regular bathroom light, but an enlarger will help out a lot because you can control with the f-stop, you can control the amount of light that's falling down, and you have more control over doing the test strips like you will see in this video. So it is always good to have any type of enlarger and a timer. I will put down in the description below a video about what you need to do your own darkroom. And as you see, this is a very tight bathroom. My camera is sitting in the tub for it to have any view here. So I will now concentrate the camera on our surface that will be doing the contact prints. And let's get into doing it. So first, of course, let's direct the camera. Of course, we have to turn off the light. So before we take out our paper, of course, it is always good to test if everything is set up correctly with your timer. My timer is set to 2 seconds. I will set that to 1 second. Test it. It gives off some light. You can also get this away. As you see, we have light for 1 second. Just like that. So, since we know that works now, we don't have to worry about focusing the enlarger or anything like that because the negative will be directly on the paper. So we don't really care about the focus on the enlarger. So we take out, of course, our piece of photo paper that we want to do the contact sheet on. And we remember to check the more shiny side, that's the emulsion sensitive side, and we put it upside down. The red light won't harm it that much, but too long exposure on the red light will also destroy it, so we don't want too long exposure on that. So now pick up your glass. I still have this frame for different sizes. Open this up further. There we go. And finally align our negative. Which side was this? Was the emulsion side, so we put it emulsion side up. We put it on here. Try to align our negative as good as we could. Put the glass over it so it presses it down. I still have this that will press it down even harder. And to make a test strip to know how much light we need to expose it properly, we will be doing in 1 second increments different strips. So each strip will be 1 second exposure more than the previous one. So the first one, let's start at 1 second. Let's do the second one. That's 2 seconds. 3 seconds. 4 seconds. And 5 seconds, the final one. I don't think we will need that much light, but we will see. So now we take out the negative with the paper. Of course, it was shiny side up. So now we put it into our developer. Of course, how to test your used developer. That video I can link down in the description as well. So now we're just waiting for the developer to kick in, get our image out. You can move it around with the little tweezers or just swing the whole tray back and forth. As you see, the borders are coming out black because that got too much light, but that's okay with us. We can have black borders, but we're just looking for the insides to develop nicely. So I see the 5 second mark is not looking bad, but let's develop this completely so we know what we have here. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds even. That's not enough light. I thought we will have more light than came out here. But oh well, that's why you do the test strip. And you just keep it into the developer until you know that the blacks are black. And when you are fine with the result, you take it out, you put it into the stop bath. Of course, remember not to touch the stop bath with your developer pliers because that could destroy the developer. Well, basically it will destroy the developer. And after a moment in the stop bath, we put it into the fixer. We can count down 1 minute in the fixer. We could, of course, use our timer. We could set it to 1 minute. And when you put the red light over here, it shines red over here. And the fixed bath is so far away that there isn't any light spilling over there. Because that much, it's not going to happen. Nothing's going to happen here. You just don't want a lot of light too quickly in the fix because it can still be some leftover developer, especially if the stop bath wasn't working correctly. The fix needs some time to get all the remaining silver off for it not to go black. And at this time it was 1 minute in the fix. We can turn on the light so we have a better view of our photo. So we're back. Let's get our photo out of the fixer. Let's give it a quick wash in the sink. It doesn't need no long washing bath. Just get the fixer off so you're not getting your fingers dirty in fixer. There we go. Something like that. And as we see, I guess 5 seconds is still not much. I will probably expose this photo at, well, the whites here are starting to go gray, so I guess I'll do the exposure at 5 seconds. As you see here, the darkest strip will be the longest time because we started from this, so every time we moved, we put more light on it, so the previous strips got more light. The brightest ones are the ones that we did last because we covered this up. It only got the smallest amount of time over here. So I don't even remember So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strips. And since we did 1 second exposures, that means this is 1 second, this is 2 seconds, 3, 4, 5. So since we will be doing this exposure here, because the whites are starting to go into gray, but the 4-second exposure, the blacks aren't that black, they're just gray as well. I guess we could play around with the contrast here, but that's not the point of this video. That's more advanced stuff. So as you see, we will be doing a 5-second exposure and see how the photo comes out. So let's get into that. That goes back into the sink, that's not needed. So let's do this process all over again, just this time 5-second exposure on the whole image. Let's get our time clock ready. Do a test, of course, if everything works correctly. We got 5 seconds. So let's now turn off the light, take out another piece of paper, align everything, turn off the light. So now we take out, again, another sheet of paper. We know we want 5 seconds exposure on this. So again, which one's the shinier side? This is the shinier side. Put it upside down for now so it's not getting too much light on it. Put the remaining paper back in here. Pick up the glass. Now we align everything, making sure that we do it the shiny side up. Now we properly place the negative, that it is nice and even, so we have a nice-ish photo. Now we cover it with the glass, put some more weight on there, and now we're ready for a 5-second exposure. So make sure our red filter is out of the way, and let's do it. There we go. We got our 5-second exposure in, and let's put it into our developer and wait around some time. Let that work its magic. We can cover up the red filter, by the way, here. Set our clock to 1 minute, let's say. So let's do the fixer for 2 minutes so we can fix it nicely for longer. And our photo got dark, so very good. But the exposure on this photo isn't the best, so we're not getting much contrast because it was underexposed. Yes, the photo was underexposed, so that's why we're not going to have nice, beautiful whites and deep blacks. Of course, we can play around with contrast filters, but that's not for today's video. So let's get our photo into the stop bath for about 30 seconds. And into the fixer it goes. Let's put it those 2 minutes in the fixer. And in a moment we can turn on the light and see how it came out. And we got ourselves an image. Let's give it a quick wash. Of course, it will go into the bath for some time before we hang it, so it can soak in more water, get all that fixer out. I'm guessing my enlarger has a little too strong light bulb put in there. I will have to check that out because it gets very hot. So I guess the light bulb in there is too strong. And a too strong light bulb is not good because other than overheating, it decreases your exposure time for prints. It can be good. Who would want to wait 5 minutes for a print to expose, right? But if you want to play around with different contrasts, toning and all that, not toning, more like dodging and burning, you would want a lot longer exposure times because at 2 seconds, 5 seconds exposure times, you're not going to do any dodging and burning on that. Nope, none at all. So yes, I will have to look into that. And our photo came out not bad, heavily underexposed, of course. So that would have to have a lot of work with contrast filters and everything. But that's how it came out. The picture isn't too bad, but it's not perfect. But in this video, we were just showing how to do contact prints. That's how you do contact prints. If you would want to play around with contrast, I don't think you could do it using contact prints, or you can, because you could put the filters before the negative even in the enlarger. So I guess you can play around with contrast, but that's for a completely different video. So this will go into the bath. I guess I'll just keep it for now, yes. So if you like this video, hit the like button. It shows the YouTube algorithm that these videos are worthy of showing to others. And if you are interested in film photography, darkroom stuff, film cameras, please remember to subscribe to the channel. It shows me I make helpful and interesting videos. And if you would like to support the channel so I can pump out more amazing content and have a lot of more great things to show you, there's a donation link in the description down below. You could also help out with the support button under this video. And if you want more bang for your buck, then look into channel memberships, where from $1 a month, you could see the videos I make at least a month ahead of time before they go public. So thank you for watching, my friends. Take care and see you in the next video.